But pretty much what I did was I imported a vector of the logo I'm using, and then I just extruded it, added a texture, added some lighting, and then this is what I got. What's good, everyone? Welcome back to day 2 of posting every day until I'm a full-time brand owner. On today's agenda, I think I'm going to start by making a plan for how I'm going to achieve my goals for this upcoming couple months. The main goal that we're going to focus on for this next upcoming season is to be making a solid 2.5K a month in profit. So I think I'm just going to download a template of a goal planner and just fill it in, and then we're just going to move on from there. All right, so now that I have the full planner filled out, I just want to kind of go over it real quick and then see what I want to do from there. All right, so the main goal is to be making about 2.5K a month in profit. For all my past drops, I feel like I've done about anywhere from 1 to 3K in revenue for each of them. But in profit, I feel like I've barely touched over $1,000 per drop or something like that. Honestly, especially with my ad costs and everything, I feel like a lot of drops I've just really broken even. So I think a good starter goal is to be making about $2,500 a month in profit. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my computer screen to see like the points I wrote down and everything. So after thinking about the most realistic way I could go about achieving this goal, I've come to the decision that I really should just be focusing on a breakout piece, like something that could really make my brand go viral or just get as much exposure as possible. So in order to do that, I'm thinking really just focus on like whatever's just trending in the clothing industry space. And especially for winter coming up, I think it's most likely going to be some type of sweatpants. This piece will most likely be relatively basic, but it's really just supposed to be like my spin on a trend, just trying to get some exposure for my brand. All right, so the second part of the strategy involves posting and marketing my drops for at least 2 to 3 weeks prior to releasing. In the past, I've really gone heavy on TikTok for marketing, posting about 2 to 3 times a day, sometimes even 4 times a day, and it hasn't really paid off in my opinion. I've been able to grow my TikTok following by doing this and just going live and stuff like that, but I haven't really seen that convert into a lot of sales in my opinion, at least. So for this upcoming drop and just for drops in the future, I think I'm going to go more Instagram heavy marketing. I think Instagram is just more of a professional platform, or it's a better platform I think in the long run for my brand to be on. So I think I'm going to try to focus more on Instagram. All right, moving on, I kind of want to try like a new approach to how I do exclusive access or something. In the past, anyone that's been subscribed to my email or SMS list has been able to purchase from my drops early. Rather than doing that this time, I might allot a very specific amount of units for all my subscribers, and then as soon as you're subscribed, you're just able to purchase immediately, just so I could generate more pre-order sales. So for example, you subscribe to my SMS or email list a week before the drop, like you could purchase that day of subscription. I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm probably going to test around and see. I might even go with a different approach, but I do want to change how I go about doing my early access, so I definitely will be incorporating something like that. Kind of building off the marketing for 2 to 3 weeks. I guess this is kind of contradicting that. But in the past, when I've kind of had traction on TikTok or Instagram, my drop date has been far away from that point of like a viral video or when I'm getting that exposure on the platform. And I think if that happens for any drops in the future, I should just move my release date. So kind of just have a loose release date, and then it just depends on how the content's doing, how the piece is getting exposed essentially. So say I have a video that gets like 100K views or like 50K views or something like that. Within a week of that video getting that exposure, I most likely would drop, because just I think the most eyes are just on my product at this point in time. So it's probably the best to just get the drop out of the way. All right, moving on to more of like product specifics of how I'm going to achieve this goal. I think I kind of want to do like mini posts or like mini blogs on my website from now on, and it's kind of like a behind the design, just like a more personal insight into how I created what I created and just why things are the way they are, sure, you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. And then I mentioned this in the last video, but I do want to get more professional product pictures and just professional shoots. So in the future, I want to do stuff that's like themed around what the drop is, or just like themed around what holidays or what events are coming up. So like, so let's say this hoodie and hat sample comes in before Halloween and I'm able to market for the amount of time I want to. Like maybe I could do like a Halloween themed drop, just like more themed marketing in the future. And then the very last part of this plan is I kind of want to do an Instagram redesign. Right now, in my opinion, my Instagram is like very lacking and just unprofessional, so I probably will hide a lot of the posts and then just do my professional product photos and stuff are mainly shared on my Instagram, and then like maybe I'll have some reels like in the reels tab that are just hidden from my main profile, like relatable content. But for the most part, like when you click on my Instagram, I wanted to give off a very specific aesthetic and vibe. All right, so after looking over my strategy and kind of getting a feel for how I want to do everything and just how I want to lay everything out, I think today I mainly want to focus on designing that breakout piece. So most likely just designing some simple sweatpants or a simple sweatshirt. But before we get into that, my manufacturer is actually about to be starting the mold for the metal logo of my hat, and I told them I'd send them like a realistic mock-up of how I want it to look. So yeah, I'm gonna cut over to Blender and then we could just export from there and I'll show you what's going on. All right, so I have Blender open, which is the program I use if I'm just making anything 3D. And to be honest, I really don't have to do too much work because the logo that I'm using for this hat is also the logo that I use for my intro for this series. Really, I just have to export a specific frame and just send it to my manufacturer. But pretty much what I did was I imported a vector of the logo I'm using, and then I just extruded it, added a texture, added some lighting, and then this is what I got. It looks pretty good. So now I'm pretty much just gonna export this frame with a transparent background, send it to my manufacturer, and should be good. It's not the most detailed thing or anything, but I mean, it gives them a good representation. Really just what I wanted to stress to my manufacturer is that I want, rather than having like a very hard edge, I want all my edges to be rounded. So now that I have that rendered out and sent to my manufacturer, I think for the rest of the video, I'm mainly just gonna focus on designing that breakout piece or just designing a simple sweatshirt or sweatpants. So I'm gonna scroll through Grails and Instagram, really wherever I want to find some inspiration, and then I'm gonna hop in Illustrator and try to design something. And I'll show you guys the finished design when I'm done. All right, so I'm pretty much wrapped up with the mock-up for the pair of sweatpants I'm thinking of dropping in the future. And I know I said in the last clip I was probably going to show the mock-up when I'm done designing it, but after thinking about it, I think I want to wait until everything is in production before I really show stuff, just in case anything gets copied. I will say I really like the design, and I think it's a good spin on kind of what's trending and what a lot of people are dropping right now, but still adding my aesthetic and vibe to it. So now that I'm done with that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to move on to just talking about my plans for my next drop and what I'm thinking of doing. So along with dropping maybe a hoodie, it's either going to be a hoodie or the hat, whichever sample I end up liking more. They both should be done around the same time, so I'm just going to see the quality of the samples and maybe even do like a little poll to see how people react to each of them, and then from there we're just going to decide which one I want to drop. Also, along with dropping the hoodie or hat, I'm also thinking of doing a bag restock, maybe dropping 50 more or around 50 more of those heart-shaped totes. I'm also thinking of like trying to do some sort of local pop-up or like trying to be more active locally. I know that there's a big subreddit for the area that I live in, so I'm probably going to try to post in that and see if anyone would be interested in just buying a bag that way, and I'll let you guys know how that works out in the next episode. But yeah, moving on from that, I probably will also be closing down the website soon, just because like there's really no point for it being open right now. Like everything's sold out that's on the site currently, and after I close it down, I'll probably just put a pop-up to sign up for my SMS and email, just so I can start gaining subscribers for the next drop already. But yeah, other than that, I think that's really all I'm doing for today. So with that being said, if you watch the video all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Really anything helps a lot and means a lot. So thank you guys a lot, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.